Yes, last night. I watched Guillermo Del Toro's Frankenstein, and I was very excited for it. Right, I was very excited for it. I think Guillermo Del Toro is a creative genius. Pan's Labyrinth is probably one of the best movies. It's definitely in my top 10 movies. Right, and if you haven't seen it, it's beautiful and disturbing and very, very strange. Right, and it seems to me that Frankenstein is a story he was born to tell. Right. It's not a bad movie, but it's by no way stretch of imagination a masterwork by him. It's a good movie. It is not faithful to the book, but at the same time, it's reasonably faithful to a lot of the book. Right? It's got a very good narrative story, and again, it looks beautiful. Right? It looks beautiful, and it tells the story of Frankenstein, but it's again not faithfully to the book at all. The casting is. I would say uniformly excellent, especially Oscar Isaac as Frankenstein, right? And the horror elements are equally excellent, right? Where's that picture of the oh man, I don't have it. There's a picture of this like cadaver, like bent over on a table, right, with him experimenting on it. So the story structure was very good, right? And again, while not faithful to the original, very reflective of the original novel. But here's the thing: it's not a direct adaptation of the book. What it is, it's an adaptation of the entity that has become known as Frankenstein, right? So just like James Bond has put on a lot of baggage through the movies and other media, or the Highlander, right? I was talking about it last night on Downstream. Highlander, they cast Jeremy Irons as one of the Watchers, a clandestine group that watch the immortals through time. Now, that was an idea from the TV show, which I thought was quite a good idea, right? But Frankenstein lore is much more than the Mary Shelley novel. It's as much the, was it James Well, 1930s Frankenstein? Probably maybe even more so, all right? And it's somewhat a fusion of all things Frankenstein. You feel a lot of that the Hammer version with, who was it? Peter Cushing. I think David Prowse was the monster in that. It's got a lot of the DNA of the Bernie Wrightson Frankenstein in it as well. But it's a smart movie with a good story, and it's well told. Which you shouldn't poo-poo. But again, is it one of his greatest works? I don't think so. His greatest works will be Pan's Labyrinth by a long way, and I think Pacific Rim as well, right? Pacific Rim, absolutely adore Pacific Rim. Shape of Water, I thought was embarrassing, frankly. So it starts off in the snow, right? Which is where, again, if you're a fan of Frankenstein, you know that's where it ends, in the Antarctic with a ship caught in the ice. And you find and so you have this like little prologue where Baron Victor from Frankenstein is recovered from the ice after an explosion with the monster continually coming after him, right? And you get to see the inhuman strength of the monster, which I don't think you had in the book, right? Again, that's a very Hollywoody take on Frankenstein, which I think is as legitimate as anything else, frankly. Right, as he there's great horror as he goes and smashes heads and break bones, and eventually this boat is trapped in the ice, and he wrenches it out of the ice. Very effective, right? Casting was great. This opening monologue, this opening thing was mostly in German, and I recognize the actor who played the ship's captain, but I don't know what I've seen of him. But again, it grabs you into the story. I didn't look at my phone once. That is a great recommendation. I did not look at my phone once. And then he goes on to tell his story, right? So you get to see his upbringing with Charles Dance as his evil father, and how it was not an easy upbringing with him and his brother. I don't think he had a brother in the novel either. I can't remember. And until eventually he's experimenting on cadavers to bring life. There's a fantastic scene where he's giving a presentation before the Royal Medical Society or something, where he's got a partially reanimated corpse. It looks disgusting, horrific, and beautiful all at the same time, which is absolutely the DNA of Guillermo Del Toro's work, right? Again, Pan's Labyrinth, right? That's really the pinnacle of this thing. It's in Spanish, and I really recommend it. Watch it with subtitles rather than the dubbed version, right? Yeah. So you go through his life, and then Christopher Waltz comes in at one point as his benefactor, who was just fantastic, right? Absolutely fantastic. And I like Christopher Waltz in anything. His brother is engaged to a woman who was weirdly somewhat dowdy. I could have done Sydney Sweeney. She wasn't. Let's be clear. Anyway, everybody knows the story of Frankenstein, and again, the use of electricity and the steampunk electricity to reanimate the monster, even though he's not a monster. And you see how abusive he is to that monster, in the same way that his father was abusive to him. A lot of this, one of the big themes of this is fathers and sons reconciling over abusive parenting, right? That really is, I think, one of the fundamental, because that's what sets it up, at the beginning. So then you have the whole bit of where he's getting his castle, where he's setting it up, and he's doing the monster. Just absolutely fantastic, right? And again, it's interspersed with moments on the ship in the Antarctic until the monster shows up again, right? And that's about an hour before the end. And the captain says, "I know who you are now. We want you're a monster." He says, "Oh, he has told you his story. I will tell you mine." Right, and then you get the everything from the monster's point of view. Basically, after he parts away with Frankenstein, so you have again very, very, very traditional Frankenstein stuff. He's a gentle, incredibly powerful giant. Now, the biggest difference, minor spoilers, but again, none of this matters. Everybody knows the bloody story. Minor spoilers is that he can't be killed. When he gets injured, he regenerates. The body heals completely, and he gets killed and comes back to life more than once. But okay, so he's in the forest, is like looking at animals, and you see his love and humanity start to come out. And eventually, he ends up living in the cellar, unbeknownst to the family of this family, and he does these like acts of loving kindness to them, right? Because he's so moved by them, and that's where David Bradley comes into it as an old blind man, right? Who's teaching and educating his grandchildren, and you have Frankenstein, the monster, watching and becoming educated, right? And so, and then eventually it's the old man left alone, and that's when Frankenstein and him connect with each other, right? And he grows into this like absolutely beautiful, gentle, spiritual soul, right? But he's plagued because he can't die, and he hates life. He hates to be alive. And then it tells the story of how they ended up on the ice. He pursues Frankenstein throughout the world, and how it ends up in on the ice. And I can say, and again, mild spoiler warning, very mild spoiler warning for a book 200 years old. It's it does end up exactly as the book ends up, right? Which I love that, right? I absolutely love that. So yeah, a good movie, a very good movie. Again, I didn't look at my I didn't look at my phone at all through it. I was engrossed. It was 2.5 hours long, and it whizzed by, right? It absolutely whizzed by. Again, good storytelling, good performances, good characters, good production design, everything good about it, right? But it's marred by not being his greatest movie ever, which you get a feeling he wanted it to be, right? It's a recommend, especially at the price, which is free. Because it's free as part of Netflix. Would I ever prefer seeing it in cinema? I don't know. And look, we all have big screen TVs at home now. We have a cinematic experience at home, which is why the cinema's dying, essentially, right? So it's a recommend. It's a recommend. There's no way it can't be a recommend. It's, again, good movie, well told. So it can't not be a recommend. Was it great? Honestly, I without any what's the word I'm looking for? Fetch it. That's a Jewish word for it. Yeah, without taking the piss, right? Without taking the piss, I think the Predator movie from a couple of years ago, Prey, was better than this, right? Is it being streamed? Yeah, it came out on Friday, right? I think that Predator movie, Prey, which is by the people who did Badlands and Killer of Killers. Killer of Killers, this was way better than Killer of Killers, but Prey, again, it was an original movie with interesting ideas. I also think Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes was better, right? And it's kind of tragic than it was, because again, this really should have been his magnus opus, and sadly it wasn't. That doesn't mean it was a bad movie. It just wasn't as stunning and fabulous, as you hoped. But man, again, the design of it was just fantastic, right? Absolutely fantastic. I don't really see. I mean, honestly, I can see it as part of like an all-night movie, horror movie, a marathon. I would probably watch this on Halloween. This is a good Halloween movie to watch, right? Because I don't really like horror movies, generally speaking, right? But I think this is a good and strong Halloween movie to watch, and I will probably revisit this again in my life, right? Probably several times, right? Again, just because it's stunningly beautiful. Yeah, well, let's have a quick look at his rest of his movies. Hang on, we'll do Guillermo Del Toro movies. Doink. Let's see where its filmography went. Hello? Where is it? Okay, fine. Share screen. Share screen over here. Doink. Mimic broke his heart, right? Because they recut that, right? Devil's Backbone and Kronos are good, interesting, low-budget horror movies. Okay, so look, I mean, again, you see a run of movies here, which, okay, Blade 2 is better, and it really genuinely is better. Hellboy is better, and it really is. Pan's Labyrinth is his best movie. Hellboy 2, going on, better than Frankenstein. 100% is. Crimson Pacific Rim, I love Pacific Rim. I absolutely adore it. And Crimson Peak. Crimson Peak is the movie that he was going to make as a movie adaptation of Disney's Haunted House ride, right? And they went along with, I think, the Eddie Murphy version or something like that. Crimson Peak is one of those movies that you see in like it's like a Sunday afternoon movie in black and white, right? It's Crimson Peak is about on the same level. Shape of Water, I really dislike. I didn't see Nightmare Alley, right? I tried to watch Pinocchio, also had David Bradley in it, and that was too weird. It was like an animation thing, a claymation thing, not claymation, a stop motion thing. But in the opening minutes, you had David Bradley like singing to his son, and it was so cringe and weird, right? Maybe I'll go back to it, but it didn't really work for me. What's Nightmare Alley? Never even heard of it. Is a neo-noir psychological thriller co-written by Guillermo Del Toro and based on a 1946 novel by William Lindsay Gresham. It is the second feature film adaptation. Did he direct it? So look, I really don't know anything about this movie. So he did direct. He wrote and direct. He writes all his own scripts, right? Which is something that Zack Snyder really shouldn't do. Good cast. Okay, I've never seen this. I'm definitely going to check it out. Definitely going to check it. What's the reception of it? I'm really intrigued. I know nothing about this. The world premiere. Box office gross, blimey, 11.3 million. That's pretty bad. That must have lost a ton of money. Low interest among movie-going audience. The release of Spider-Man No Way Home on the same date. Well, yeah, and it was like, you know, there was just stuff. They basically beat people out of going to see going to the cinema by that point by their relentless finger wagging. The Strain was a good show. I like that a lot. I haven't seen any of his Netflix stuff though. I saw some of his Cabinet of Curiosities. None of them are really that good. The good thing about The Strain, by the way, the thing that David Bradley again, but who was it? They had Kevin Durant. This introduced me to Kevin Durant. Now, again, really recommend Kingdom of the Planet Apes. One of my favorite movies of the last few years. I really loved it. Genuinely a good movie. It's like unpretentious and enjoyable. So he's in it as the main villain ape, and he's fantastic. He is absolutely fantastic in it. All right, so that's a big recommend. Anyway, my name's Tzvi Lebetkin, the Rabbi from another planet. Please like, share, and subscribe, and ring that little bell. Ring the little bell so you're notified when new videos drop.